Hey everybody, this is Tyler from the library. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can code a control panel to control your positional servo. So I'm at MakeCode.com. Again, if you need the link to this website, it's in the description below. I'm going to click on Microbit. And instead of creating a new program today, I'm just going to be editing our on-off, specifically the one for the positional servo. So I'm going to open up that program that I've already written. And as I mentioned before, if you're interested, if you haven't done this yet and you're interested in learning how we wrote this program, watch the video from the other day about creating an on-off for the positional servo. But if you just want to get started and you haven't written this already, the link to this code, this template, is down in the description below. You can just click on that and it should open up a editable microbit interface like this. So to get started, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding 2 more buttons to our program here that can then control the speed for the positional servo. Just like how it was more difficult to write this on-off button, it's also going to be a lot more coding for the positional servo versus the continuous rotation servo if you've already watched that video. But we're going to start out by adding an input. Last time we grabbed this button A, this time we're going to grab on pin 0, and I'm going to change this to pin 1. And then I'm going to go back and grab another one, and I'm also going to change this to pin 2. So what we want to happen is, since there isn't like a speed as in the continuous rotation servo where we can adjust how fast it moves, really the speed is based upon this pause or delay that we have here. Right now we have it set to 1 second. And we click A, it swings at a constant speed, but how fast it goes back and forth is controlled by how long this delay is. So for example, if I move this up to 2 seconds, and I pushed A, you see it's moving a lot slower now. So what we want to do is create a way we can control this delay. And the easiest way to do this is by creating a variable. And I've already done that. I'm creating a new variable called delay. So to do that, I just clicked here and I just typed in the name of my variable and click OK to save it. What we're going to do is we're going to put this variable right here in both of our pauses. And this will, so whenever we change the value of this variable, it will update this code. And that's how long it will move for. I'm also going to remove this while block. You don't necessarily want it just in button A pressed, because if we did it just in button A pressed, we'd always have to push button A to make our code work. And we don't want that. We want our code to work when any of these buttons are pressed. The other thing is we could just copy and paste this code into these 3 things, but when it comes to coding, you never want to repeat yourself. If you find yourself repeating yourself, you should find another way to do it. And so that's what I did here. And so what I decided to do is just put a for loop inside here. In this way, it's always active. So as long as on-off is set to 0, this code will execute and it will pick a delay right here. And what we can also do is set our delay to this. So I'm going to make button A my easiest level. So I'm going to make it 3000. So it's a little counterintuitive that the bigger the number, this easier it'll be. Usually we think higher numbers, but the bigger the number, the slower the delay is going to be. Remember, this is done in milliseconds, so 3000 milliseconds is 3 seconds. The other thing we want to do is, as you can see, this program is trying to execute right away, but we only want it to execute when one of our buttons is pressed. So I'm going to go back to basic. I'm going to go to on start. And I'm going to change this on-off to 1, because that's our off value. So I'm going to go to variables. I'm going to set delay to 0. I'm going to change delay to on off. I'm going to set that to 1. So that way, anytime our program starts, it will just go to a position and stay there, and it won't move. And it won't move until we turn it on by pressing like button A, for example. So nothing should happen, should wait 3 seconds. And that's pretty much it. So now we just need to repeat what we did for the buttons and these other 2 buttons. So I'm going to grab another variable. I'm going to grab 2 of these sets. Set delays. I'm going to do the other ones here too. I'm going to change this top one to on off. I'm going to leave it 0. So this way I turn on. I know I just said never to repeat yourself, but in this situation we have to repeat ourselves. That way we can always make sure that our servo is in an on state. So if we start out with our medium or hard difficulty in the beginning. I'm going to set the delay to 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds for my medium pin 1. And I'm going to change my last one to 1 second delay. Oops. And I'm also going to change this to on off. Change my delay to 1 second. And now you can see if we test it here on the screen, we have our 3 second delay swing. Let's change that to our preset 1. And let's change our last one and see if we get a faster movement. And we do. So that is our code for here. I'm going to save it so I can add it to my microbit. I'm going to open up my downloads folder. And then you can see my Positional Servo program right there. And then I'm going to drag and drop it on the microbit. That's all you have to do to code a control board for your Positional Servo. And now let's test it out. So let's test out our code on a microbit. So when we press our buttons either on the control board or on the microbit itself, it should affect how long the delay is between the servo moving back and forth. And it looks like everything is correct. One thing I want to note is, in order for activate our A and B button on a control board, we need to create a circuit. And we do that by holding down ground and then pressing one of our strips of copper tape. Otherwise, if you don't do that, it won't work properly. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful.